It didn't matter how many times she washed them, or how much perfume she sprayed. That smoky scent followed her everywhere. That morning, she stood in front of the mirror in her small, shared university hostel room, smoothing the hem of her cheap blouse. She looked beautiful in a simple way, but something in her eyes carried quiet resentment. Her mother had just called. "Amina, my daughter, how are you?" Her mother asked over the phone. "I am fine, Mummy, but I'm almost late for lectures, so I'll call you later." Amina replied hurriedly. "All right, my daughter, I just wanted to hear your voice. Take care, okay?" As the call terminated, Amina sighed. Her mother's voice was warm and soft, but to her, it was a reminder of everything she wanted to escape. Mama. Coody's corn stall sat at the junction near the busiest bus park in their community. She wore her usual faded blouse and wrapper and tie-dye piece of cloth around her head to keep the heat off her hair. That afternoon, as Amina walked past the stall on her way to meet her friends, she spotted her mother, Mama Coody, fanning the fire, sweat glistening on her forehead. "Amina," her mother called out to her excitedly, waving a roasted corn wrapped in paper. Amina froze. From a distance, she heard the familiar laughter of her university friends. 3 girls dressed in clean jeans and fake designer bags, walking towards her. She forced a smile, pretending not to hear her mother. Mama Coody called out again, louder this time. "Amina, my baby." The 3 girls turned. "Wait, Amina, is that your mom?" one of them asked, surprised. "No, God forbid," Amina said almost immediately. "She's just someone I know from our street." They all laughed lightly and continued walking. Mama Coody's hand dropped, confusion clouding her face as her daughter disappeared into the crowd. She smiled weakly to herself as she muttered, "Maybe she didn't hear me." But she did. Amina's world was divided neatly in two: the life she wanted and the life she was born into. At school, she spoke fake polished English. She avoided her mother's calls in public, and she always laughed at jokes about poor market women. At home, she was withdrawn, always rushing to her room and avoiding her mother's eye contact. Every night, Mama Coody returned from the stall smelling of smoke and corn, her hands trembling with exhaustion. She would count the money she realized from sales for the day, small crumpled notes, and then she would peek into Amina's room. "Amina, are you hungry?" she would ask. "No, Mama. I'm just very tired," Amina would reply. Mama Coody would smile anyway and say, "Okay, I'll keep some food in the pot for you, in case you get hungry later." One afternoon, Amina's roommate, Beezy, was scrolling through Instagram. "See this girl, oh," Beezy said. "Her mom owns that big restaurant by the highway known as Madame T's Kitchen. That woman is really enjoying life." Amina hesitated, then smiled faintly. "My mom has something like that too," she lied. Beezy's jaw dropped. "Wow, are you serious? You mean your mother owns that big place near the roundabout?" Amina nodded, her heart pounding. "Yes, she just doesn't like attention." From that moment, the little lie grew legs. Her friends began calling her Madame T's daughter. They expected luxury, respect, and money. Amina enjoyed the new attention she got, the feeling of finally belonging. She started dressing better, borrowing clothes to keep up appearances, and posting pictures with fancy captions. One Saturday morning, the sky was pale blue and harmless. Beezy and 2 others followed Amina to visit her mother's restaurant. Amina's heart pounded as they neared the bus park. "Is this the shortcut?" Beezy asked. "Yes," Amina whispered, her throat dry. And then they saw it. The roasted corn stall. It was small, crooked, with smoke rising in uneven curls. And there, smiling through sweat, was Mama Coody. "Amina, my daughter," she cried happily, dusting her wrapper. "Welcome. Are these your friends?" she said happily, pointing at the girls. The girls froze. Beezy blinked. "Hold on. Is this the restaurant you were talking about?" Amina felt her chest cave in. "Absolutely not. I just came to say hi to this woman. I know her from our street." But Mama Coody was already pulling out hot roasted corn from the smoky fire. "Welcome, my daughters," Mama Coody said. "And thank you for being friends with Amina," she added. Her friends exchanged looks. One of them whispered, "So this is the big restaurant you were talking about?" They all burst out laughing. Their laughter was loud and mocking. Amina's cheeks burned. She grabbed her bag and ran off immediately. That evening, she didn't go home. As days turned into weeks, Amina stopped answering her mother's calls. She moved in with a friend near her school campus, pretending she was busy with final year projects. Mama Cootie still went to the stall every day. She told her regular customers proudly, "My daughter will soon be a graduate. She will be a big woman soon." At night, she would sit on Amina's empty bed and talk to God softly. A few months later, Amina graduated from the university. The ceremony was filled with smiles, laughter, and proud parents taking pictures. But Mama Cootie wasn't there. Amina didn't inform or invite her to the ceremony. She only heard about it from a customer who had come to her stall to buy roasted corn. She sold more corn that week to raise money for a small gift. It was a gold-plated pen with the words, "To Amina, my daughter, from Mama." When she arrived at the school compound late that evening, the crowd had dispersed. Amina stood with her friends, taking selfies. When she saw her mother walking towards her, her stomach twisted. "Amina, my baby. Congratulations," her mother screamed out happily. Amina forced a smile and said, "Mama, why did you come here? You shouldn't have bothered. I just wanted to give you this." Mama Cootie said, handing her the pen, her fingers trembling. "I am so proud of you, Amina." Amina took the pen, but her friends were already whispering and giggling behind her. She muttered an ungrateful thank you and turned away. Mama Cootie stood there a moment longer, smiling. Then later, she walked back alone towards the bus stop. That night, she fell ill. The sickness came suddenly. It started with a cough that grew into fever. Still, Mama Cootie refused to rest. One afternoon, while roasting corn under the blazing sun, she suddenly collapsed. Customers screamed and gathered around. A boy fetched water and poured on her to resuscitate her. Another called for help. By the time Amina arrived at the hospital, after receiving a call from their neighbor, her mother was already unconscious and placed on oxygen. The sight broke her. The tubes, the thin sheet, the weak rise and fall of her mother's chest. It all stabbed through her like a sharp knife. She sat by the bed, holding her mother's rough hands. "Mama," she whispered, tears falling uncontrollably, "I'm sorry. I am so sorry." Few days later, when Mama Cootie woke, her eyes moved slowly toward her daughter. "Amina," she called out with a low voice, "you came?" Amina nodded, sobbing. "I've been so wrong, Mummy." Mama Cootie smiled faintly, her lips dry. "You're not wrong, my child. You're just young, and the world is going too fast." Amina shook her head. "No, Mama. I lied about you. I told people you were someone else. I told them you owned a restaurant." Her mother's eyes glistened with tears, but she still smiled. So that's why you stopped coming home. I thought maybe you forgot me." Amina buried her face in the bedsheet. "Mama, I was ashamed. I wanted to be like others. I forgot you were the one who built my life with these hands." Mama Cootie raised her trembling fingers and touched Amina's cheek. "Smoke never shames me, Amina. If my hustle gives you life, then I did not suffer in vain." Amina cried so hard the nurses had to calm her down. 2 weeks later, Mama Cootie was discharged. She was still very weak, but she insisted on returning to her stall to continue her roasted corn business. But when she arrived, she found a surprise. Amina had repainted the stall, replaced the rusty grill, and put up a bright wooden sign which read, "Mama Cootie's Corn." That morning, for the first time, Amina stood beside her mother, fanning the fire. Her friends passed by, stunned. Someone took a picture and posted it online. The caption read, "She's not ashamed of where she came from." The picture went viral, but Amina didn't care. For her, it wasn't about the internet. It was about peace. Weeks passed. Customers doubled. Mama Cootie's smile returned. Amina started a small business plan of creating clean packaged roasted corn for supermarkets, naming it Cootie's Fire. The brand grew. But every evening, no matter how busy she got, Amina still came to the roadside stall to help her mother. Sometimes they would sit quietly, listening to the hiss of corn against firewood, watching the sun melt behind orange clouds. One evening, a cool breeze swept through the market. Amina knelt beside her mother, wiping her hands with a clean towel. "Mama," she whispered, "do you remember the day I walked past you like I didn't know you?" Mama Cootie chuckled softly. "I remember, small. My heart hurt that day." Amina's eyes filled with tears. "I wanted to be someone else. But now I see that I'm already someone because of you." Her mother smiled, cupping her face. "You see? The same smoke you hide from is what built your fire." Amina hugged her tightly. The smell of smoke filled her lungs again,